watu wanapiga kelele, kotini wanaongea vile wanataka. But we don't, it's actually quite a serious thing because we're talking about what the Constitution says and what the law says, that it's a little bit more serious than we might give credit here at this point. Where somebody says, because we're met with chagrin and we say, are you kidding? How can we possibly have an election in 24 hours? Before you even start to look at the brick and mortar of it, the thought or the acknowledgement, consideration of how serious this is doesn't pass the minds of very many people, the IEBC being included. The elected members of parliament, the elected governors, elected senators don't take this into consideration because it's like, okay, that's nice. The court in Malindi said something. That's great. So what?
You know, the challenge that we face in our country is that people don't take seriously the provisions of Article 3.
Yeah.
And Kenyans have to make a decision. If you want to be a country of the rule of law, or a country of legacy politicians. Because in my reading of the Constitution, we need to amend our minds. The only amendment we need in this country at this point is an amendment of the mind, not amendment of the Constitution. Amend your mind to remove it from your hiccups of the old, to start reading and applying this Constitution as it provides. And in amending your mind, the first amendment you're going to do is you must delete, Control-Alt-Delete, Section 9 of the former Constitution, which had specifically provided for a 5-year term for President and members of Parliament. Control-Alt-Delete, that provision was, the Committee of Experts and the Kenyan people were aware of it. Because it was in the Constitution, the old one, when they were drafting. They decided to put it on the side, discard it, we don't need it anymore. And they said, we are going to tie your term in office to the election cycle. And proceeds to define for you the election cycle.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, Wakil, please. These elected members of parliament, when they're taking office, they swear to abide by the Constitution, isn't it? So that would require an understanding of and, an acknowledgement of what the Constitution says. It seems to me a pretty serious indictment on anybody who is in that position, who does not understand that even the term that you're serving, what you think is going to be 5 years, was in an old Constitution and that you're not living that today. It seems as though it's much more than that you shouldn't be in office. It's a deeper understanding that who essentially is in these positions in which they are elected, and do they have a full understanding of what it means to be in elected office.
That's true. In fact, I was talking to a serving senator, soon to be former senator of a county. And it was sad that what he said was, when I was elected, I knew I was going to serve for 5 years and that we should adopt a purposive interpretation of the Constitution. And I asked him, what do you mean by purposive interpretation? So you want us to read the Constitution to satisfy your own personal interest? The Constitution is a document of all Kenyans, not of an individual. So if that was your thought, too bad for you. You should have looked for Willis Otieno, Reverend lawyer, to tell you from the beginning that as you are seeking this elective office, know that you are going to serve until the 11th of August 2022. Beyond that, 2026. Beyond that, there will be an election. So people want to reread the Constitution in a way that satisfies their personal interest. This thing has got nothing to do with individuals and personalities. This thing has got everything to do with the law. And Kenyans must accept, only that they forget. When we are doing our Constitution Amendment review, the Committee of Experts, even the Guy Commission, there was one thing which was very key, and it was a very big debate. I mean, I've always followed elections, chapters, and legal developments in this country. And even that time, I was still deeply involved in this. Kenyans were aware that elections were held in December of the election year. Persons were being elected to serve for 5-year terms. They were aware of all of that. Then Kenyans decided in their views to the Committee of Experts, they said, these December elections interfere with our festivities and travel plans. We want elections to be held on a month other than December.
Yes.
And the first argument was, which are the other available months? So there was April of the election year, and there was August. And the first argument, there was April, August, and November. On April, it was said that will shorten the term in office, because then it means election preparations will have to start earlier, and the campaigns. And number two, April is a long rainy season. So questions of the rains interfering in the elections will be an issue. The second was the question of November, which Sami, the team, had proposed. And the argument was your elections are held largely in public schools.
Yeah.
And they provide the infrastructure for polling stations. And November, we have exams. So we cannot do it in November for that year. So the compromise became August. And it was a keenly followed conversation that we were now bringing it inwards. Because the first point to be rejected was if you take it out towards the elections year, the August of the preceding year, you will be adding an extra period of in office to those who will be holding those offices. So the compromise was that because they are individuals, they can't be given an extra mandate. You can only bring in the election, so their mandate is shortened. And that is what the Kenyan people passed. So now this is amnesia that I'm seeing many of us are suffering from. I wonder what informs it when we had a very robust public debate and discussion on bringing the elections inwards. But legacy politicians are conmen. These are people who specialize at conning Kenyans. And look, even today, one of the leading dailies is talking of 1 year to go. It's part of subconscious control of the mind, that you must attune your mind to the year 2027 as the election year. This headline should have read, in my view, temporary incumbency. How far can we go? So that we start exorcising the ghosts of legacy politicians out of our constitution-making process and living within the constitution. We all know that you are there, yes, but you are just a temporary transitional administration or a holder of a public office. And the primary focus of the people is to be that how soon can we organize elections so that people can faithfully donate their sovereignty. Because it's the sovereign will that is being discussed here, not politicians' accommodation.
Because where we find ourselves today